So after taking the day to digest the results of UFC 313, I'm still left with one question. Was Alex Pereira exposed? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Please consider subscribing. Pretty please give it a thumbs up. That way other people see this video. But to dive right into this, as the bulk of you guys probably know, seen, heard, Ankalaev is the new light heavyweight champ. He beat Alex Pereira. Split decision, went all 5 rounds. It's kind of lackluster fight. And I've heard a lot of people discuss kind of their thoughts on this and opinions. And there's a couple of things that I don't feel like have been really brought up. So that's what we're gonna dive into today. So the first big thing that I noticed with this is the same Alex Pereira that we've seen every single fight. He didn't, didn't he still had the aura, he still had the intro. It's just Ankalaev brought it to him. He did not play the game. I guess pushing Alex on the making him fight off the back foot is the key. And also outstriking the striker. None of us thought that Ankalaev would do that. We thought that this was going to be a grappling match for the most part. And I mean, credit to Alex, he did stuff 11 of 11 takedowns. Ankalaev didn't get him, but Ankalaev almost did drop him. So, we got to give credit to that. That was the most significant strike of this fight. But the blaring hole that I saw was just no head movement from Alex. And like we've only seen people utilize and take advantage of this hole twice with Izzy in their like third fight or their second in the UFC, and then Khalil Roundtree in the first 2 rounds of their fight where he was tagging Alex, and then he started playing Alex's game, and then Alex put him to sleep. Ankalaev did not take that shit. He was outstriking. Alex was landing some lower outside and inside calf kicks. And they look to be really effective. But Ankalaev is Russian. He doesn't feel that. These guys don't feel pain, man. Their pain threshold is like I don't even know, but it's not human. I mean, they wrestle bears, but nonetheless, that was just it's like we didn't expect to see that. And then Alex wasn't setting up anything. He would either throw out the calf kicks and maybe try to catch Ankalaev when he came in. He countered a few times, but he was so hesitant with the I guess the takedown potential. But then Ankalaev's beating him on the feet, and we've like whenever Alex fought Jan, Alex, he was able to play, he was able to go with it because although Jan was significantly heavier and bigger, Alex would just pop back up because he knew his striking is, way superior than Jan's. In this fight, this was not the case. Ankalaev had him on the ground. Not really, he stuffed him, but you know what I mean? Like on the ground, Ankalaev is probably the superior. And we thought he was going to be inferior to Alex in this fight, and he wasn't. He was striking. Alex didn't set anything up. He was taking it, and the fact that he said that like Ankalaev won because he held him up against the cage. So I don't like that shit either. It is boring. Luckily, Mark Goddard separated them that one time, but then they were just right back on the cage, and so it's just it's kind of lackluster. But the biggest question here is like, what does Alex do? Does this is this the end of the reign? Because so he lost this fight, and then let's say he goes for the rematch, and honestly, I don't think he wins the rematch after seeing this, unless the fame or the weight cut to 205, really hit him this time. Then maybe we see a more active Alex in the rematch. I would hope, but this looked like the same Alex. He's just a way bigger superstar, and I don't think anything would be different. So he lost this fight. Let's say he goes into the rematch, loses that fight. Then the hype train is over. He is no longer the one and only. And let's say he jumps up to heavyweight. Who's he going to fight? John Jones and Tom Aspinall completely off the table. This killed that. So we got, Cyril gone? I don't want to see that. Cyril's not fun to watch. I mean, Alex is, and it's just not interesting to me. We'll leave it at that. I mean, you have Alexander Volkov in the heavyweight division, him versus Alex. I mean, it'd be a battle of the giants. And I mean, Alex hadn't really gone up against anybody that's that much bigger than him and has a reach advantage. So that could potentially be interesting. And I believe Alex has 4 fights left on his contract. So, he's in a tough spot. And he said in one of his pressers that cutting down to 205 this time was really tough. So he wants to jump to heavyweight for sure. And, if he cuts back down, or let's say he doesn't take the rematch, who's he going to fight in light heavyweight? He's wiped it out. Yuri, Jamal, none of that makes sense. And like, if you give him like, uh, Alton Almeida, then I mean, that's not exciting either. So Alex is in a tough spot, man. It kind of reminds me of the Francis Ngannou situation where Francis left the UFC as king, got into his boxing match with Tyson Fury. 95% of folks that watch that know that he won. And I'm part of that 95%. I think he should have won that. But then he goes in and just gets starched against Anthony Joshua, which that should have happened in his first fight with Fury. Happened with Joshua, and then after that, it was done. We see that these guys are mortal and that they're beatable. And, Nagano went and had his PFL debut, and nobody cared. That thing had, I mean, I think it had like 25,000 people watching, which is nothing burger. So, could Alex be in that spot? I think so. I think so. And he's 37 years old. Going to be probably close to 39, 40 by the time he fights again. And he was also talking about boxing. The Usyk fight is completely off the table. But hear me out here. If you're still watching this, listen to this, because this is gold. So we all know TKO owns, UFC, WWE. It's the parent company. And now there's this new boxing league. Alex wants to be a boxer. What if, for maybe his final fight, he is the first crossover UFC to boxer within the TKO sphere? Yeah. That would be crazy, There's a few people with exceptions in the UFC. And, they're named John Jones and Conor McGregor. And coincidentally enough, Bruce Buffer also announces them as the one, the only. So now that Alex is in that, could Alex, could Dana do it? And if we're really playing make believe, even though I don't think this could happen on a business level simply because of ego, but what if Alex just kind of rides out the rest of, takes the Ankh rematch, let's say he loses it, and then, maybe does one heavyweight fight, and, against Cyril Gahn or Volkov, and then goes over to TKO boxing, and just imagine if they let Jake fight him. They've already called each other out. Well, more so Jake. Alex is Chama. So that could be a crazy turn of events and a perfect bow to really stamp Alex. Because let's say the rest of his UFC career is just kind of meh. Back-to-back losses, maybe potential 3-fight losing streak if he goes over to heavyweight and loses. But then what if he's the one crossover, megastar, first crossover from the UFC into the TKO boxing? They let Jake in the door and he puts Jake out. I'm just saying that would be a crazy turn of events. We've all seen crazier in this sport. So I'm hopeful, but I think it's like 5% chance that happening. So I don't know. Answer the video. I do think Alex got exposed a little bit. Still a great fighter. Still pound for pound great. I'm not sure where he goes from here. It's in a tough spot. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuce.